Please welcome Kathy Callahan.
Become as a little child and leave the old for new. That's what we must do to keep growing. And as understanding changes to a clearer view, truth comes shining through for the knowing.
Once upon a time, there was a young girl who loved her father very much. Her mother died in childbirth, and therefore her father doted on her and taught her to be all that she could be. He taught her to read, and at every opportunity he sparked her imagination. One day, her father remarried, and she found herself with a stepmother and 2 stepsisters. Soon thereafter, the father died and left her in the care of her stepmother, who treated her very poorly and made her a servant in her own home. Late at night, she would curl up by the fire, reading the books that her father had left her. And she was so covered in ashes from the fireplace that her stepsisters nicknamed her Cinderella. In all the versions of this story that I watched and read, Cinderella is always portrayed as being pure in heart and loving. In one version, she helps a little bluebird who has a broken wing. And later, that bluebird transforms into her fairy godmother, blue wings and all. In another, she goes out of the way to help the servants in her father's home. And still another, she gives food and water to weary travelers along the road. Cinderella embodies the pure in heart. Cinderella is often, though, derided and ridiculed by her stepmothers and her stepsisters for these acts of charity. They seem to make sport of ridicule, actually, making themselves feel better by putting other people down. Not that any of us could or would ever do such a thing. But Cinderella stays true to herself. And in one version I watched, her favorite book was by Sir Thomas More, and it's called Utopia. You may know that utopia means no place. no place. So no matter what was going on, no matter how badly her family was treating her, no matter how difficult her life was, Cinderella knew that there was a spot where she could go. A spot, a place, a refuge, where she would be safe. In a corner where she could spark her imagination. There, in her safe place, in her utopia, she envisions a magnificent life.
I'm as mild and as meek as a mouse. When I hear a command, I obey. But I know of a spot in my house where no one can stand in my way. In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I can be whatever I want to be. On the wings of my fancy, I can fly anywhere, and the world will open its arms to me. I'm a young Norwegian princess, or a milk maid. I'm the greatest prima donna in the land. I'm an heiress who has always had her silk made by her own flock of silkworms in Japan. I'm a girl men go mad for love's a game I can play with a cool and confident kind of air. Just as long as I stay in my own little corner, all alone in my own little chair. In my own little corner, in my own little room, I can be whatever I want to be. I'm a thief in Calcutta, I'm a queen in Peru, I'm a mermaid dancing upon the sea. I'm a huntress on an African safari. It's a dangerous sort of sport, and yet it's fun. In the night, I sally forth to seek my quarry. Then I find I forgot to bring my gun. I am lost in the jungle, all alone and unarmed, when I meet a lioness in her lair. Then I'm glad to be back in my own little corner, all alone in my own little chair. I am in the royal palace of all places, when I meet the finest prince you've ever seen. And the look on my two stepsisters' faces is a queer sort of sour apple green. I am coy and flirtatious when alone with the prince. I'm the belle of the ball in my own little corner, all alone in my own little chair.
In the current Broadway revival of the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, they've written a new book, and they've given Cinderella a new modern woman worldview. In this version, Cinderella befriends the local beggar woman called Crazy Marie. She makes sure Crazy Marie has food and is comfortable. She also befriends a local townsperson who is campaigning throughout the prince's kingdom for the rights of the poor and the downtrodden. Needless to say, the stepmother and the stepsisters will have none of this social justice stuff. They are much too busy trying to maneuver and manipulate the situation to their own advantage, trying to snag the prince, not because they love him, but because they represent what he represents, what they want, status and riches. The stepmother and the stepsisters, you see, metaphysically are representations of our ego. They represent those thoughts inside of our head that tells us that we're not good enough. They represent the thought that we have to fight and coerce and struggle our way to the top. They, our ego, represent that part of ourselves that feels that we're lacking, that we need some kind of outside validation. They want the prince to feel better about themselves. And they only see Cinderella as a tool for their own means, the end to their own means. They don't see her for who she is, who she truly could be. As the stepsisters and the stepmother leave for the ball, Cinderella is left in front of her home, crying, imagining, envisioning what it would be like to be at the ball. When all of a sudden, Crazy Marie appears again and says to her, "Why don't you just go?" To which Cinderella replies, "Well, for that, I would need a fairy godmother." And in that instant, Crazy Marie transforms into Cinderella's fairy godmother. Right? How often is it that our fairy godmother, spirit, God, is right in front of us, and yet we cannot recognize it because it doesn't look like we thought it was supposed to look like, or we're too busy. That face of the homeless person, the face of your family member, is the face of God. Crazy Marie. Now, resplendent in a beautiful gown, tells Cinderella, "You'd be amazed how many beautiful gowns have crazy women inside of them." Cinderella, though, keeps listing the obstacles, all the reasons she can't go to the ball. And Marie keeps casting her spells, casting the spell of the pure, loving thoughts of the impossible.
Impossible for a plain yellow pumpkin to become a golden carriage. Impossible for a plain country bumpkin and a prince to join in marriage. And 4 gray mice will never be 4 white horses. Such folderol infinity of courses. Impossible. But the world is full of zanies and fools who don't believe in sensible rules and don't believe what sensible people say. And because these deaf and dewy-eyed don'ts keep building up impossible hopes, impossible things are
The fairy godmother, spirit within, does not know limits. But it is important to recognize that in this story, she does not create what is necessary for Cinderella to go out to the ball out of thin air, or does she take it from anyone else. Rather, she takes what is already in Cinderella's life, and she transforms them by looking through what they appear to be to what they could be. A pumpkin becomes a carriage. Mice become horses, and rags become a beautiful gown as she shines the light of appreciation upon them. Never look at anything in your life and bemoan it again. For everything in your life is the platform of what could be in your life. Look at your job. Look at your relationships. Look at your health. Look at your finances. And see through what appears to be to what could be. The full potential. Cinderella arrives at the ball, and the room stops at her entrance. Because she is otherworldly. She is not like anyone else in the palace, because she sees things differently. The prince looks up and is literally swept away. The stepsisters, who live with Cinderella night and day, do not recognize her. Don't recognize her, because metaphysically they're not expecting to see her in that situation, and they don't think that Cinderella has any value, so they can't see what's right in front of their eyes. And they cannot understand what is going on. The Talmud teaches us that we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. Right? We see things through our clouded vision. Often in these stories, the prince and Cinderella have met somewhere before this ball, but that evening they don't recognize each other. You see, the prince also feels trapped by his circumstances. He longs to be seen for who he is and for his true self, not for his crown, his title, his riches. Both he and Cinderella are defined by their status. And in this story, they represent our ability to look through what appears to be to what could be. Look through to the truth that lies underneath. Jungian psychologists and Jungian metaphysicians both know that the person we are looking at, the person we are in love with, is actually a reflection of our own inner beauty. Who, what you fall in love with is actually that part of yourself that you cannot see and you cannot fully own.
Or are you beautiful because I love you?
Cinderella has been told by her fairy godmother that all of the magic would transform back to its former state at the stroke of 12, and that she must leave the ball before this clock strikes 12. Metaphysically, this represents our need to do our affirmations on a daily basis. Yesterday's affirmations don't do you any good today. Right? How often have we started a new practice or a new affirmation and stood back and watched as it seemed to work miracles in our life? Right? And then we stop doing the practice and we let other thoughts creep into our mind. And other thoughts meaning negative thinking. Other thoughts creep into our mind, and then all of a sudden when our outside world shifts, we go, see, this stuff doesn't work. When actually, it's a perfect demonstration of the law of mind action, and a perfect demonstration of the thoughts that you are holding in consciousness. Right? So often in this story, there is a need for a second ball, a second chance to plant our new consciousness firmly in our mind and to root it in its substantialness. In one of the versions I read, at the night of the second ball, one of the stepsisters gives Cinderella a gown so that she can go to the ball. But before they leave, the stepmother rushes in and rips the gown off of Cinderella. The stepsisters again leave for the ball, and Cinderella is on the front steps of her home, bereft and crying, and crying, and crying. When the fairy godmother finally shows up, Cinderella says to her, "Fairy godmother, I thought you would never get here." To which she replies, "Oh, that's not true, dear, or I couldn't be here at all." How unity is that? We are the ones that allow our good to come through to the world. Cinderella, with purity of heart, represents our alignment with Spirit, with God. And when we are aligned with God, we summon the miraculous power of the universe to work on our behalf. Even when she doubts it, Spirit is at work in Cinderella's life, conspiring for her highest good. Once again, the fairy godmother shines the light of pure appreciation on the things already in Cinderella's life, and they are transformed, and she is whisked away to the ball, into the arms of her prince. In an instant, we can be transformed. In a moment of meditation, in a moment of right thinking, righteousness, our lives can shift. We can experience heaven on earth. Cinderella, 1 minute is in tears. 10 minutes later, on cloud 9.
10 minutes ago I saw you. I looked up when you came through the door. My head started breathing, you gave me the feeling. The room had no ceiling or floor.
10 minutes ago I met you, and we heard our how do you do's. I wanted to ring out the bells and fling out my arms and to sing out the news. I have found
Her, she's an angel with the dust of the stars in her eyes. We are dancing, we are flying, and she's taking me back to the stars.
In the new Broadway production, at the end of the second ball, when the clock strikes 12 again and Cinderella starts to leave, she stops and she takes off her slipper and she hands it to the prince. As if to say, you figure this out. She reaches across the time and the space of this magical transformation in order to ask him to seek her. In essence, she was saying, I have come to you twice. Now you come and find me as I am and where I am. Metaphysically, this represents the journey that we all go on to understand each other, to see each other, and to walk a mile in each other's shoes. All right, walk with each other's shoe down a mile. But it represents the journey into oneness. Understanding that when we do that, when we have the compassion and the empathy to see the other person and their journey, our eyes are opened. And we get to see beauty that our eyes, our heart, our soul could not see before. Cinderella represents beauty, purity of heart in this story. But how often do all of us fail to see the beauty that is in our everyday lives? Fail to see the love that is right there. And then, like the stepsisters, bemoan it when someone else discovers it was right under our nose all the time. Cinderella has value in the story because she sees the divine in everyone. In the injured bird, in the homeless woman. She sees the face of God in her stepmother and the prince. The real lesson of this story is that Cinderella manifests her good, creates wealth, real wealth, which means well-being in the original meaning of the word, by being pure in heart, by seeing the good. The real story is not her marrying a prince. The real story is how she manifests her good by being like a little child and seeing it pure. In the many versions of this story that I watched and read preparing for this talk, the stepmother and the stepsisters often live out a punishment because of their selfish and egocentric behavior, but not at the hands of Cinderella or the prince, but rather as a direct result of their own behavior and thoughts. And metaphysically, we know that we are not punished for our behavior, but by it. So, there are three things that I'd like to impart to you, so that you too can manifest your wealth, your good, your well-being like Cinderella. Number one, allow yourself to want what you want. Envision your life magnificent. Cinderella took the time in her own little corner, in her own space, and you can in your meditation every day see your life magnificent. Give to everyone in need. There is always something we can give. There is always something more that we can do. Give a smile. Give of your time. Give of your talents. Give of your treasure. Give from your abundance. For the world needs you to show up. The world needs you to fully participate and to make a difference. Be grateful for everything you have in your life. Look at everything in your life and shine the light of appreciation and gratitude upon it. A glimmer of hope is all that is needed to transform your life. Faith the size of a mustard seed, and you can tell the mountain to get up and it will walk into the sea. We keep telling these stories. We keep telling this story, this fairy tale, because metaphysically, it's true. Metaphysically, it's true. When you become like a little child, When you become pure in heart, you can summon the miraculous power of the universe to work on your behalf. When you become pure in heart, you can create wealth and live happy ever after. Namaste. Before we take this to our time of meditation, I have to tell you that it's such an honor. I learned this way of telling a story from your senior minister and my friend, Reverend Colton. Trust me, no one else in Unity does this. They didn't teach it in school, and I am delighted to have him as an example and mentor, and as a colleague, and especially as my friend. So, I love you. Thank you so much. So as we get comfortable in our seats, and Kathy comes back, we will start with our meditation. The words are in your bulletin. We're going to all sing In My Own Book.
In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I can be whatever I want to be. On the wing of my fancy, I can fly anywhere, and the world will open its arms to me. Just as long as I stay in my own little corner, all alone in my own little chair. One more time, the words of my bulletin. In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I can be whatever I want to be. On the wing of my fancy, I can fly anywhere, and the world will open its arms to me. Just as long as I stay in my own little corner, all alone in my own little chair.
In my own little corner, in this safe and silent place, in the stillness, I can know that anything is possible. As we take a deep breath and settle into our chairs, we can envision a life magnificent, a life beyond our dreams, a life infused with a vision of spirit. For the world is full. The world is full of people who don't believe in sensible rules. Proud to be one of those people. We sit here in our corner, in our time apart, and see ourselves reaching out, venturing out into the great unknown. Come across a new opportunity, a new road, and we travel down it. We see ourselves doing something we have never done before, soaring at full wingspan, flying across time and space, and letting the wind carry us. We see ourselves striking out on a new adventure with a backpack filled with everything we will need. And we watch, one by one, as we take things out and shine the light of appreciation on the things in our life. Watch as your home changes and grows. Watch as the material substance of your life transforms. What do you need? What do you desire? In this moment, in this place, shine the light of pure appreciation onto what you have. Shine the light of love and understanding and see it fully. As Eric Butterworth said in his book, Spiritual Economics, do not make it right, see it right. Sit here and see your life resplendent, abundant. See your life whole in the silence, in your corner. Be anything you want to be. Like a fairy tale, our lives unfold before us. Like a fairy tale, we can say bibbidi bobbidi boo anytime we want and shine that light of appreciation on what we desire. In this moment, in this breath, we can be whatever we want to be. Manifest your life. Manifest your good. Manifest your wealth.